So we move to the financial P&L account. So we know that the format that is income. So sales and other income, materials consumed, other expenses, depreciation will be calculated. So move on to the first problem regarding the preparations of financial statement on the vertically. So Roger Limited of Galway has been authorized capital of is 10 lakh divided into shares of 100 each. The company issued 2000 shares to the vendors as fully paid. So the following balance have been extracted from book in the 31st March 2020. So goodwill will be 90,000. Land and building will be 4 lakh. Provision for depreciation of land and building will be 98,000. And plant and machinery for 4 lakh 50,000. Provision for the depreciation plant and machinery will be 1 lakh 55,000. Shares capital will be 4 lakh. Stock on cost will be 55,000. Book dates will be page number is 78. Provision for the depreciation on plant and machinery is 1 lakh 55,000. Stock at cost will be 55. Book date more than the 6 months will be 12,500. Provision for the income tax will be 20,000. Proposed dividend will be 36,400. Creditors for the goods will be 40,000. Security premium 1 lakh. General reserve will be 9,300. So interest due on the above will be 6,000. So prepaid expenses will be 300. So preliminary expenses will be 12,000. So you are required to prepare the balance sheet of the Raj Limited as on 31st 10 2010 on the vertical form. You have to prepare on the vertical form. You know the first one will be the sources of fund. So sources of fund will be there will be the capital and the reserves and surpluses. For the capital, you have to take on the equity share capital that is fully paid. They given the 4 lakh. Okay. Next, reserves and the surpluses. You have to make a working note for that. Reserves and surpluses. So you have to take the account into security premium 40,000, general reserve 1 lakh, and profit and loss account. So 9,300. So these are all the comes under for the reserves and surpluses. Next one, loan fund. That is you have to make a working note. That is a secured loan. We have get the bank loan secured against the hypothecation of interest due. That is a 2 lakh and 6,000. We'll get the loan will be 2 lakh 6,000. These are all the total sources of fund for the company. Next, application of funds. So what purpose they are using ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ first one will be the fixed asset. So first one they given the gross block that is a 9,40,000. You have to make a working note for that. Fixed assets. So goodwill will be 90 on the 31st March. That is the ending of a period. Number will be 90,000. Land and building will be 4 lakh. Plant and machinery 4 lakh 50,000. Total will get the 9 lakh 40,000. And the depreciation for the end of the year will be 90, 3 lakh 2,000 and 3 lakh 40,000. So we will get the amount of balance figure will be 9 lakh 50,000 for the gross block less depreciation 2 lakh 53,000. So net block will be will get a 6 lakh 87,000. Next one investment that is current assets, loans and advances. First one will be the inventories. For the you have to make a working note for the inventories. So stores and spaces nothing is there. Raw materials and packing will be dash. Material in the stock will be 55,000. That is stock cost that has to be taken. Okay. Then sundry data. So sundry data they only. So sundry data that is they given in the balance sheet that book data is more than 6 months old. So 6 months old they have the data in maintain ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. That is has to be 60,000. Next cash and bank balance they only given. ಎಷ್ಟು bank balance ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರೇ provide ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So bank balance at the end of the period will be 12,400. That has to be extracted from the questions they given. So next other current assets other than the cash inventories debtors ಇದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಯಾವುದು current assets ಇಲ್ಲ. That is why we have taken the dash for that. Then loans and advances. For that you have to make in for that you have to make in a working note. That is loans and advances. That is prepaid expenses will be 300 will be the loans and advances for the company. So next you have to subtract the current liabilities and the provisions. So what are the provisions the company are going to pay, that has to be subtracted. That is liabilities. For that you have to make a working note. So we have the liability means current liabilities means which are settled within the 1 year month. So before that you have to know what are all the sources of fund. Sources of fund ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ಫಂಡ್ ಗಳು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, that has to be taken. So application fund, what are the purpose the company using those funds. So in a current asset means that asset which are easily convertible into cash. That may be stock. If you have the stock of finished goods, we can convert it. Means if I sell today, that will I receive the money. That is what stock. And sundry debtors. Sundry debtors are nothing but we are making a credit sales. So credit sales ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದು ವಾಪಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. That is what credit sales. Then cash and bank balance, that is a cash and bank balance which are I deposited in the bank, that has to be withdraw when I want. So that is what's been taken. So total we have taken a net current asset as 7,43,300. Then miscellaneous expenditure to be extended to the not return of are taken into account, that is 12,000. So these are all the problems they are giving for how the financial accounts will be prepared. So in your examination they may ask, so prepare the financial accounts for the balance sheet and the P&L account. They can ask for the 15 marks, and the liquidated financial statement can also be they ask for the 15 marks. Those are the important question for your examination. So next questions will be the problem number 3, that is a foreign trial balance on 31st March 2020. Prepare the final accounts. Final accounts means you have to prepare the balance sheet and these things. So interest on advances 800, interest from investment 125, commission, exchange and brokerage 200, profit on sale of investment 20, other revenue receipts will be 80, share capital 2000, statutory reserves will be 900, profit and loss account will be 650, fixed deposit 275, and saving deposit will be 325. And they are given the information regarding current accounts 125, borrowing from other banks will be 300, and the borrowing from the RBI will be 100. So the borrowing will be comes under the loans and advances, that is in a current liabilities underly ಬರ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Then so first more to the problems, that is the share capital. So company at the end of the period share capital is to provide ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ they given in the question, that is 2000 the company has a share capital. Then reserves and surpluses, that means whether it may be CRR, that is capital redemption reserve, profit and loss balance, and a security premium reserve, general reserve. These four things has to be taken for the reserves and surpluses. So first one, share capital we have to taken equity share capital or the preference share capital ಎಷ್ಟು paid up ಆಗಿದೆ amount ಅನ್ನು ತಗೋಬೇಕು. So reserves and surpluses, so reserves and surpluses ಗೆ you have to taken, so general reserve ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ general reserve, P&L, capital redemption reserve, security premium reserve, ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾಲ್ಕನ್ನು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ you have to taken for the reserves and surpluses. So next one, deposits, that company ಎಲ್ಲಿ deposits ಮಾಡಿದೆ that has to be taken. So for the deposit we have to take demand deposit. The company may have a demand deposit, our saving deposit, or fixed deposit. Those transaction has to be taken for the deposits under ತಗೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರು. Whether the company maintain the fixed deposit in the RBI, whether they maintain the current account deposits in the some other company, they have to make deposits column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. Okay. Next, borrowings means you have to take in the loans. So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು borrow ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ that has to be taken. So they given the borrowing details regarding three things, that is borrowing from the other banks, they're taking from the borrowings, and the borrowings from RBI in the borrowings na ತಗೋತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. Then other liabilities and the provisions, so except share capital, except reserves and surpluses, except deposits, ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಾರೋಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಂಪನಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ವಿತಿನ್ ದ 1 year ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಬಾರೋಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು they will going to take on the other borrowings. Okay, so in the assets we know the assets are the company which are convertible within the 1 year. So they given the details about cash and bank balance with the Reserve Bank of India. So whether it may be cash and balance with the Reserve Bank of India, whether it may be commercial bank, whether only bank balance ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ that has to be taken for the cash and bank balance ಗೆ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. Then balance with the banks money at a call and a short notice. So if any other current asset, that is short notice ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಚೆಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡ್ರಾ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, that has to be taken. In this particular problem they given the balance on that, that is in India balance with other banks they given the 400. So other than the RBI remaining bank ಅಲ್ಲಿ 400 rupees ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರಂತೆ, that has to be taken for the balance with other banks. Then investments. So investment will be the investment in the government securities. They make a government securities ಅಲ್ಲಿ 300 rupees ನ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. And other approved security, government securities ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು other approved securities ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 100 rupees ನ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Total the investment they make in rupees 400 rupees ನ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So ಆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ, if I sell that investment I can earn the money itself. So that is why that has to be taken as a current assets ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Next, advances. So here advances means the company has lent the advances to its employees or any other persons. ಲೋನ್ ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಲೋನ್ ನನಗೆ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ರೀಪೇಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್. ನಾವು 1 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಲೋನ್ ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳೋ ಇದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಲೋನ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸಸ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಕಂಪನಿ given advances. So for the calculation of advances you take a bill purchase and a discount, that is cash credit ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ overdraft, that is current accounting holders get a facility of overdraft, and the demand loans. So is to term loans. So company ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಲೋನ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ overdraft 250 rupees ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ. Then cash credits, overdraft and loans. For the loans they have lent 1425 loan ನ ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Then term loans for the 3 months 4 months, so they are given a 1225. So total they will get a 2950 they are paying for the advances. So next will be the fixed asset. You know the fixed asset that are cannot be moved from the, whether it may be building, land, machineries, furniture has to be taken into account. So in a particular problem they given the fixed assets related to the premises net value ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, that is 1375. Then other fixed asset, that is a furniture, will be 250. So ಎರಡು fixed assets ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, that is 1625. that is fixed asset to company they are maintaining 1625. Then other assets will be, that is they are maintaining the furniture, that is in 50 rupees. So total we will get the 5725. So that the contingent liability, that is bills for the collection. So most of the problem the contingent liability cannot be shown in the balance sheet, that has to be taken in the director reports ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So next will be the winding up of the company, that is unit 7. So as you know the company is an artificial person. So you already know that is an artificial person that has to be taken the get birth from the registration in the ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. It is enjoys the preferential succession. That means the members can come and go, but the company will be exist for the long period of time. So the companies under the extreme circumstances can be dissolved by the following procedures. So liquidation, winding up, dissolution. So sometimes so from the by the government or the by company itself they are going to close up the company, that will be called as a liquidation or winding up of the company. So during the liquidation process, an effort will be made by the company to discharge the debt according to the priority. So that means when you are closing, so during the liquidation they have to make a prioritization. That means so I am closing the company, for which person I have to give the more priority. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ priority first ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ they make a priority list. So next move to the meaning of liquidation of company. So liquidation of company can take place under the both the cases, namely when the company is insolvent. So company itself is insolvent for continuous business. When the company is not insolvent, so when the company in a position in every sound Even then its members may like to wind it for the reincorporation with the extent of objects for an amalgamation of the more businesses. So the modes of winding up of the company will be voluntary winding up of the companies. So when the members and the creditors of the company decide to wind up, that is wind up by the company itself. So as a company, they are not ready to continue the business, whether they are incurring the continuous losses, whether directors the directors of the company are not ready to take the company for the further. On that time, the company will be go for the voluntary liquidations. So types of voluntary liquidations will be members voluntary winding up, creditors voluntary winding up, and so first move on to the members voluntary winding off. So when the members of the company decide to wind up it, even when the financial position is sound. So whether the member financial sounds of the company will be good, that means company is earning the profit or the more. Then also if the members they voluntarily do not want to continue the business, on that time they can close the business. That is what voluntary winding up, that is a close down of the business by the persons of the members. Then procedure for the members voluntary winding up. So what are the procedures they should follow on the first one? Declaration of solvency should be made at the meeting of the board of the by the directors. So while the members of the company winding up the business, they have to give the declaration that in the board of the meeting that I am closed down the my business. Then special resolution of the company called resolution for the winding up should be passed in the general meeting of the company. So they should be pass the resolution in the meeting. So we are not ready to continue the business for the next further financial year. They are to winding up that. Then in the above mentioned meeting or at any subsequent general meeting, one or more liquidators may be deemed to be necessary should be appointed. That is, liquidator is a person who will take all the actions regarding the liquidation. So while I'm closed down the company, ನಾನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದೆಲ್ಲ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಐ ಶುಡ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಎನ್ liquidator. That person should be appointed by the company. So above mentioned special resolutions be advertised on the official gazette within the 14 days of the passing the such a resolution. When they conduct the meeting, they have to inform. When they pass the resolution in the meeting, they have to inform the and publish the advertisement that this XYZ company will be going to winding up. That they give an advertisement about that. Then notice of an appointment of a liquidator should be given by the company to the registrar within the 10 days. So as a liquidator should give the registration certificate within the 10 days for the company. So notice of the appointment should also be given by the liquidator to the registrar within the 30 days of his appointment. So if XYZ company appoint a person as a liquidator, they have to give the information to the register company, that is register office, they have to give. So he will take all the liquidation procedures. Next one, the liquidator should realize the assets and prepare the list of creditors. That means liquidator duties ಏನಂತ you should realize the asset. That means you have to sort out the assets of the company which are available and prepare the list of creditors. So the whom the company has to pay, that list has to be prepared. Admit the proof for the payment ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ they have to make enough proof for that, and settle list of contributors and to make a such calls as may be necessary. For the settlement of the creditors, they make a call. So I have to pay for this and amount, that has to be work taken by the liquidators. Then if winding up continues for the more than 1 year, the liquidator should be called the general meeting of the company within the 3 months to end the first year after date of the commencement of winding up. So that means if the liquidator takes some more time for the completing the procedure of liquidation, they have to give the report to the annual general body meeting. Then as soon as the affairs of the company are fully wound up, the liquidator should make upon account of winding up and call the meeting for the company. So after finishing of all the activities related to the liquidation, means winding up, he has to call the meeting and inform all the board of directors. That is all the work related to the liquidation will be completed. So then creditors voluntary winding up. So if there is a voluntary winding up in which the declaration of the solvency has not been made by the directors, this winding up is called a creditors winding up. So if they voluntarily, the directors of the company make a winding up decision, that will be called as a voluntary winding up. If it is not, then that will be called as a creditors winding up. So members and the creditors are both appoint the liquidators. So members of the company and the creditors, that is the company who they have to pay, they both the person will come together and appoint a liquidator for taking a liquidator procedure. Then liquidation under the supervision of the court. So at any time after the company has passed the resolution for a voluntary winding up, the court may take an order that the voluntary winding up shall be continue but subject to such a supervision of the court with the liberty of creditors, contribution and other supply and the court adjourn. So if the court is taken a action for the winding of the company, the court will be make a necessary action that who they have to pay it. Then compulsory liquidation. So when the company has to go for the compulsory winding up, company may be owned by the court under the following circumstances. When first one, if the company has a special resolution resolved that the company may be owned up by the court. So when the court may order, so compulsory they have to make owned up their business. Then if the default if made, so if the default if made in delivering the statutory report to the register or in holding the statutory meeting, then if the company does not commence its business within a year of incorporation, when they get a registration certificate, within the 1 year they have to start the business. If they not start the business, the court will be ordered that they should be wind up the business. Then if the number of members is reduced in the case of public company, so below 7 in case of private company. So if the company is unable to pay its debts, so when the company has a more number of debts, that means sala jasti ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ they have to wind up, court only order to wind up their business. Then the company is treated as unable to pay its debt in the following cases. So if the creditors to whom the company is indebted in sum exceeding 500 rupees as served as the company notice demanding his payment and company for the 3 weeks. So if the company is not ready to pay, means it has not a capacity to pay, on that time that will be treated as the company do not have the capacity to pay the debts. So liquidator's statement, every liquidators prepare the statement of account at the end of each year for the winding up so of the company. So at the end of the last year of winding up, he prepares an account which is known as a liquidator financial statement of account. So this account mostly contain the following particulars, that is amount realized by them, payment of various liabilities and distribution of surplus if any. So while preparing the liquidator statement, first amount realized, that means what is the amount there in a company, that is selling of assets and a settlement is the amount is that has to be taken. Then payment of various liabilities out of the amount realized, so to whom the company has to pay, whether the creditors or the bank loan or the dividend or the equity share capital, these all should be paid. Then if there is any surpluses, then that has to be distributed to the persons. So amount realized by the liquidator, we already know that realized from the debtors, realized from the surplus is fully paid up and to make cost contributor for the company. Then payment of various liabilities is already discussed. So then move on to the preferential payments in winding up. So this is most important in the point of problematic solving. So preferential payment means for whom they have to pay the first. So workers dues, debts, dues secured on the creditors in the extent of such debt banks, the security of every secured creditors. That means while winding up, they have to pay the preferential creditors and the secured creditors. If the company has the mortgages, that means I get a loan for mortgaging a land and building or the furniture of the company. So those first person has to be paid first. That is, they are making a preferential for them. So next move on to the problem, that is a liquidator statement in the 8 unit liquidation statement. Okay. The capital of X Limited was as follows. That means the company has a 3000 equity share of rupees 100 each. Okay. And 85 per share is paid. So share value will be 100. But the persons who are obtained the share, they pay only 85 rupees. That means while you are paying, repaying the amount, you have to pay only 85, not an 100 rupees. Okay. Then B, thousands B equity share of his 100 rupees as rupees 80 rupees paid. That means 100 rupees share on the 3000 shareholders, you have to pay only 80 rupees, not an 100 rupees. Then 1000 preferential share of rupees 100 each is fully paid. That means you have to payment for the preferential holders ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫುಲ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ದೀಸ್ ತ್ರೀ. ಒಂದು ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ನೀವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಂಪನಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಸೊ 3000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 85 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ವಾಪಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ 1000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 80 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಾಪಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ 1000 ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೀವು 100 ರುಪೀಸ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವ್ರ 100 ರುಪೀಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ದ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಟು 76,500. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ 76,500 ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ 2,500. ಸೊ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ನಮ್ದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ ಅವನಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ 76,500 ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ 2,500 ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಂತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 76,500 2,500 ಅನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಶೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ 20 per share ಫಾರ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸೊ ಬಿ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಯಾರಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಓನ್ಲಿ 80 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಈ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನು 20 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪೇಡ್ ದ 20 rupees. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್. 100 rupees ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾವು 100 rupees ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ rupees 1,91,000. ಸೊ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಇರುವಂತದವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ 1,91,000 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, so a call of rupees 15 per share is partly paid. Equity share was made. Okay, this was paid in the fully of the expression of 100 shares. Prepare the liquidator financial statement. Okay, let's move on to the solution. So first one, you have to take on the receipts and the payments. Okay, so company should have the receipts. Total receipts is ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ಕಂಪನಿಲಿ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, 1,91,000 ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ 1000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅವರು 20 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ, ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ದೇ ಸೆಡ್ ದಟ್ 1000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಸ್ 100 rupees 100 ಈಚ್, ದೇ ಪೇಡ್ 80. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಅವ್ರು 20 ನೀವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ on 1000 B equity shares rupees 20 each na payment agide. So 1000 into 20 will get a 20,000 for that. Okay, next on 3,000 equity shares ಏನittu A equity share. So A B ಅಂತ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೊ ದೇ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ 15 rupees ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 45,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮೈನಸ್ ಅನ್ಪೇಡ್ 1,500 ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 43,500. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 2,54,500. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ liquidator remuneration. So in the second paragraph they given the information that the various creditors, so creditors ತುಂಬಾ creditors ಇದಾರೆ, secured creditors, unsecured creditors, ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ದು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 76,500 ಇದೆಯಂತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತೆ 2,500. ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಅನ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ 2,500. ಸೊ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ 76,500 ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ 2,500. ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ 74,000 ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟರ್ಸ್. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅವರು ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಪೇಡ್ ದ 1 lakh rupees. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 1000 shares into 100. ಅವರು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 1 lakh ನಾನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ದೆನ್ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ₹20 per share ಅವನ 3,900 shares ಏನಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ 1000 plus 1000, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 3,900 shares ಮೇಲೆ 20 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮೇಲೆ 78,000 ಅಷ್ಟು ರೂಪೀಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 2,54,500 and 2,54,500. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ದಿ ಕಂಪನಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ 3,000 shares, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 100 shares ಪೇಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಯು ಟೇಕನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ 2,900 share ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ 1000 ಶೇರ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ 3,900 shares ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ Move on to the second problem. A limited company went to voluntary liquidation on the 1st July 2011. So its position on the date. So liquidator ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನ್ position ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So first one, 1000 preference share of is 10 each, 1 lakh rupees is the balance. So then 5000 equity share of rupees 10 each, they paid the 50,000 and the minus calls in arrear will be 1000. Okay, so total amount collected from the equity shareholders will be 49,000 only. Okay, then again 10,000 equity share of rupees 10 each, 5 rupees paid, so that amount we only collected the amount of rupees 50,000 only, that is 10,000 into 5 rupees. Then 2,000 equity share of rupees 10 each, rupees 3 rupees paid, that means 20,000 into 3 will get a 60,000 amount. Question alle provide ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Bank loan, that is raw material as a security, that is raw material na secured ಮಾಡಿ mortgage ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನು 38,000 loan ಅನ್ನ provide ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು, that is nothing but secured creditors ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅವನು. Then unsecured creditor, the assets is 1,45,000, debit balance and the profit and loss account will be 50,000. So realization as under, so raw material realized by the bank will be 30,000, other stock will be 80 and other assets will be 20,000. That means that has been increased agide anta. Okay, then remuneration for the liquidators, so for the conducting a liquidation activity they are providing 1,000 rupees as a remuneration, and he also get the 3% of amount of assets realized as him. So 1,000 rupees ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅಸೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ 3% ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಅದರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಬಿ 11,000. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ರಿಫಂಡ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ಸೊ ವೆದರ್ ದೇ ಪೇಡ್ ದ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಫುಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಫಾಲೋಸ್: 10,000 equity share at rupees 3 per share, 20,000 equity share at 5 per share. All these are were duly paid off. ಅದನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So prepare the liquidator financial statement and prepare the preference share of the priority for the refund of their capital. So out of the ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪನಿ ಏನ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ share capital ಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. Okay, let our solution: receipts, estimated value and the realized value. So on the right side, first we have the cash. So cash account ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 5,000 in the paragraph. 5,000 ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅದೇನು ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 1,50,000 ಇದೆ. ದೆನ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್, ಸೊ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ 80,000 ಗೆ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ದೆನ್ ಅದರ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್, the value will be the 1,45,000. then that is realized value, that means other assets ಏನಾಗಿದೆ 20,000 ಅಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, so both the value have been taken. then amount received from the calls ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ 10,000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದು ಪರ್ ಶೇರ್ 3 rupees ನ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. 10,000 into 3 will get 30,000. ಸೊ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ 30,000. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು 10,000 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ 4 ರೂಪಾಯಿನ ಇಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು 3 rupees ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದೆನ್ 20,000 ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಏನಿದೆ at rupees 5 per share ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತೆ. ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಟೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 1 lakh and the realized value is also 1 lakh because we are collecting only 5 rupees, not more than that. Okay, so next move to the liquidator remuneration. So ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ 1,000 rupees ಹಂಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಿ ಗಿವ್ ಇನ್ ದ 3% ಆನ್ ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಗಳು ಏನೇನ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೊ ನಮ್ಗೆ 2 ಅಸೆಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು 80,000 ಗೆ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ 20,000 ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಟೋಟಲ್ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷದ ಮೇಲೆ 3% ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ 1 lakh into 3% ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 3,000. ಟೋಟಲ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ 1,000 ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ 3% ಅಸೆಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ 4,000 ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಷನ್ ನ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ 11,000 ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸೊ ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ಅನ್ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ so 1,11,000 they only given in the adjustments. Then returns to contributors. So as adjustment told, preferentials have made a priority. First priority ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 10,000 ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ರುಪೀಸ್ 10 each ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪೇಯಿಂಗ್ 1 lakh rupees. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 1 lakh ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 2,35,000 ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 4,000, 11,000, 1,11,000 and 1 lakh ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಟು ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಟೇಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನಿದೆ, ಸೊ ಆನ್ ದ ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಯು ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಆನ್ ದ ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ವೆದರ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಅಸೆಟ್, ಮತ್ತೆ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್, ಈಗ 10,000 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಒಂದು ಶೇರ್ಗೆ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರು 80 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನು 20 ರೂಪಾಯಿನ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ 10,000 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟು 20 ರೂಪೀಸ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನೀವು ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಇಷ್ಟು. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಟರ್ ರೆಮ್ಯುನರೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಯಾರ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅವ್ನು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅನದರ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ದೇ ಗಿವನ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎನಿ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಷನ್, ಆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೋತೀರಾ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ ಇದಾರೆ, ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್, ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್. ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರು 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸಬೇಕು. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇಂದ ಯಾವ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದ liquidation of your financial statements. Next, move to the block 3, that is valuation of goodwills and shares. So a business is established with the sole aim of earning a profit. So every business will be conducted for the earning of profit. The success of a business is also ascertained with the quantum of profit earned by them. Okay, the ability to earn the huge profit is enable the firm to earn the good image. So every business will be enacted for the making a profit. So if they want to make a profit, they have to make a good name. So they have to earn the good name. So the reputation of the company will be called as a goodwill. Okay, so let's move to the meaning of goodwill. So goodwill, as we know, it is an intangible asset. That means we cannot touch and feel it. That so, but it is not a fictitious means that is in the business alliance. Then goodwill accrues only to the profitable concerns. So which company is earning the profit, that company has only a goodwill name. Then goodwill is a value of the reputation or good name earned by the business unit over a period of time. So definition of goodwill. So Moses defines goodwill is a present value of the firm's anticipated the excess earnings. So ನಮ್ದು ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಗಿಂತ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಏನ್ ಅರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ದ one calculator for ₹100. So if I am calculating the brand name, I am can sell that same calculator for the ₹500. That is what goodwill name. So if you have the goodwill, the company value will be automatically, the earnings of the company will be increases. So what are the factors will be affecting the goodwill ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದ್ರೆ, first one, ability of the management. So competent and efficient management helps in boosting the profit and thus increasing the value of the goodwill. So how the company is managing their employees, how they work efficiently, on the basis of that the company earnings will be depend on the earnings, on the reputation, the goodwill will be increases. Then place of the locality. So where our business has been conducted. So whether you are conducted on the center of the city, whether you are conducted in any remote places. So on the places of your business, the reputation will be depend. Then stability in the business. How the business is stable. That means how the business is developing. So that has to be developed, whether it is be in a stable form, whether I'm earning a profit in the increasing way. It is not in any variation. Keep on variations in bar. Then less risky. So if the business is a less risky, it creates a more goodwill. So let's retain so the constant profit of the business. So if the business is keep on fluctuating, the profit is keep on changing, then the business will be earn the no profit. Then qualification of the businessman. So if the businessman is an honest, so sincere, the efficient in performing the services to the customer can create the more goodwill in the business. If the workers of the company, if the manager, their main aim is to satisfy the needs and wants of the customers, so then only they can make that goodwill of the company. Then trend of profits. So if the profits of the business are not increasing in trend, it creates a more goodwill for the business. So let's move to the concepts of goodwill. So after studying the factors, we have moved to the legal concept. So judges and legal experts are the opinion that goodwill is not related to the excess earning, but it is related to the customer regular and constant visits to the enterprises and confidence among the customer about the business enterprise. As per the government, as per the legal concept, goodwill is nothing but it is not increasing any revenue, that is not earning, but the constant customers, the customer will be loyal for our company, that will be called as the customer keep on purchasing our company goods and services, that will be called as a legal concept. Next, economic concept. So according to the economics, the firms earn the profit not only on account of various recorded assets but also because of several other unrecorded assets. So profit earned on account of the unrecorded assets will be creates a good. Okay, so we have recorded that we have purchased the raw material, we pay for the wages and all the things. But as for the economics, goodwill means some reason, some name will be created, contributed for the increasing our profit. So that factor will be called as a goodwill. Next, accounting concept. As per the accounting, so as per the accounting concept, if the firm is capable of earning more profit than the expected normal profit, the excess amount of the profit is termed as a super profit. Such a super profit earning a capacity of the creation of goodwill. So as per the accounting concept, they are telling that, so if I am earning a normally, if a XYZ company earning a profit of rupees 10,000, so if it is earned more than 10,000, that will be called as a super profit. That super profit will be earned because of the goodwill. So that super profit itself is called as a goodwill for the company. Next, factors affecting the valuations of a goodwill. First one, on the acquisition of the business, if the management expenses are going to increase, the value of the good will be affected. So if the most of the profit you are using for the expenses, that will be affect your goodwill. Then if the additional capital is required on the acquisition of the business, is affect the value of the goodwill. Then if the business purchase as any patent or the trademark, the remaining period of such a rights will be making effect of the value of the goodwill. So if the company purchase only portion of the patent or the portion of the trademark, so remaining portions of the patent will be mishandled or the miscommunicate to the public. So risk factors involved in the business will also affect the goodwill. So quality of goods. So relationship between the employer and the employee, place of establishment, etc., will also make impact on the valuation of goodwill. So what are the external factors will be affect the goodwill valuation ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, first one, if patronage of the customer is going to change, that means if the preferences of the customers will be changed, if you offer the any good quality of goods and services with a reasonable price, they won't change. If they not need, they definitely not purchase. That will be creates the affect the goodwill of the company. Then a reasonable agreement between the concerned business and outsider will also affect the goodwill. So how the opinion of the outsiders will be depend upon the goodwill of the company. Then elements of competition is another factor which affect the value of the goodwill. Then political protection will also make an impact on the value of the goodwill. Next, accounting features of a goodwill. So goodwill is to be considered as an asset. So if the goodwill is purchased, the payment made for is treated as a capital expenditure. If you purchase a goodwill from any other company, for acquiring any other company, that will be treated as capital expenditure. So goodwill will be treated as an intangible asset because we cannot touch and feel it. So hence the provision for the depreciation is not made. For the goodwill, we are not going to calculate the depreciation. Only the assets which are tangible, for that only we charge the depreciation. So goodwill will be considered as an intangible asset. That is why we are not charged any kind of depreciation for the goodwill. The value of the goodwill fluctuate with the increases or decreases in the profits of the business. So it will be depend upon the fluctuation in the business model. If the business is making a super profit, good will be considered as an hidden asset. So if the company is making a profit as a regular, that will be called as an hidden assets. So showing the goodwill as an asset for a long period of time is not good. So effort should be made to write off the goodwill and excess of the profit. You should try to make an excess of the goodwill should be written off. So using this amount of goodwill for the purchase of something, I use the goodwill for the payment of something. Likewise, you have to write off means you have to pay off the goodwill which are earned by the company. So it is not good for the company to make a profit for the regular period. Next, circumstances for the valuation of goodwill. On what time you are going to make a value of the goodwill? First one, at the time of amalgamation of company. When you are purchasing or when you merge with another company, you are going to calculate the goodwill of the company. Then on a sale of the company. So when you are selling the company, so on that time you are going to calculate what is the reputation of the my company, what the worth of the our company. Then for valuation of shares which are not listed as a recognized stock exchange. If the some kind of shares which are not registered in the SEBI, on that time you're going to make a valuation of goodwill. Then at the time of admission of a partner to the partnership. So when you approach a person to appoint as a partner to our company, on that time the partner, the new entering partner will ask, so what is the value of the company? On that time we are going to calculate the value of the goodwill. Then on the death or retirement of partner. So if ABC three persons are running a business, if a B person has been retired or if the B person is dead, so after that, after his death, so what is the value of the company? So if the B person is working more efficiently than other person, for his contribution for the goodwill is more. That his efforts will be increases the goodwill. After the B is retired or is dead, so what is the value of the company? On that time, we'll go for the valuation of goodwill. So next on the sale of partnership business. So when you're selling the partnership business, we are going to make a valuation of goodwill. Then on the sale of and the conversion of the company firm into company. So you are starting a sole trading concern. When you want to convert that into a joint stock company, on that time you have to making a valuations of goodwill. So these are related to the your unit 9 goodwill. So in the next class we are going to discuss the method of valuation of goodwill, that is 10th unit. So that may ask for the problem. So we can continue in the next classes. Thank you.